Okay. Here on IceTime.TV, and I'm joined by Devils bench coach Jamie Elson after a 6-2 victory against the Edinburgh Capitals. And Jamie, I guess that's a game where the Devils need to be professional. The Capitals come with a different style. They work very hard. Maybe not quite the intensity of a Nottingham-Sheffield game, but you've got to do your job and close that game out.
Yeah, I mean, there's no easy games. There's no easy games in this league anymore, and they're a good team. It's a different style of hockey, so it's a little bit of a mentality switch. They play, a much looser style game, much more sort of European style than some of the North American physical battles that we have with like Sheffield and Nottingham here in the last week. So, it's difficult because they're a dangerous team. They got some players there that are really high end, and I think it's a real switch for the guys to take it from those games like Wednesday to a team like this tonight. And we've seen it already in this league, and we've seen it in previous seasons that if you take that team lightly, they're going to take points off you.
We talked to Lane Ulmer a moment ago a little bit about momentum, and you went on a streak earlier in the season. It's now 6 league wins on the bounce, and I know you and Andrew Lord look at it very much a game at a time. But that's got to be a good habit to get into, to keep putting those streaks together and that consistency that all teams crave.
Yeah, I know it's cliche and we say it all the time, but we don't get too carried away. We are focused on the game tonight and then the next game, and that's pretty much as far down the calendar as we look. But I think those streaks are important because they go both ways. We found ourselves before that triple header getting into sort of 5, 6, 7 games and then 8, and then before you know it, you start winning games and habits start really coming through. That you get through some of those more challenging games sometimes, then just really with the confidence and the feel-good factor that you've got, and it goes the other way. Then we lose that first one in Fife, and then we go to Belfast and you lose it, and all of a sudden that streaks 2. And I think it's important that when we do lose a game, that it's a one-off and that doesn't turn into 2 or 3 then. And I think that's the biggest thing that we've done here. We've turned that straight around and put ourselves straight back onto another streak here where you see it again tonight. Confidence is high, and we can move forward into this next week. And I think everyone's excited about some of the challenges ahead here.
Is it a different feel on that bench in the locker room this year? We've talked a little bit with Andrew Lord. You brought guys like Lane Ulmer in, like a Sean Bentavolio, like a Scott Hotham, veteran guys who have won championships. The Devils at the moment seem not to panic whatever situation they're in.
Yeah, 100%. We've got guys who've been there before, and I think that was a huge thing in recruitment this summer. Was we wanted to bring more guys to the table who knew what it took to win a championship, who've been there, been in pressure situations, been in those games where you're not having the best night, but you got to get a win, or you're behind late. And we've seen it. We've seen the character, and the great thing is, it's not just 1 or 2 guys. We've got a real handful of those guys. So I think it's shone through in our hockey. Like when we've got into pressure games, when we've got into pressure situations late in games, we haven't seen this team panic. We've seen a lot of character, a lot of veteran leadership come through, and it's a little bit of a different feel on the bench. There's leaders step up and talk when they need to be, when they need to say something. But on the whole, the actions on the ice lead the way, and it's been good. It's been really good to see.
What about the Ulmer, Bentavolio, Lord line tonight? Because they're always good defensively. Their details. We know Ulmer's very good on face-off. He's been a little snake-bitten. He gets 2 big goals tonight, and the whole line really was flying. So that must have been positive for you to see from the bench, and Andrew Lord to view.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's. When we bring him and Benty in, the proven point scorers, you just have to look at their CVs. And the big thing with both of them is that their consistency. If you look at their CVs, year on year, they consistently brought out points. And when we looked at that in the summer, that was a huge thing. They haven't had a couple of big years and then a dip off in form. So they put pressure on themselves. I'm sure when he spoke to Orms there, he's been feeling it a little bit, but they do all the little things right still. And he wins draws. He's such a reliable centre guy. His details, his defensive work is excellent. Like, he doesn't take a shift off. Same with Benty. They still press pucks. They still defensively contribute. So, that's the great thing about the team. We've got such a spread of talent and scoring here. If that one line is not quite clicking, or the goals aren't quite going in, or they're not getting that little rub of the green, we've got other guys who are stepping up and getting it done. And I think that's the huge thing with this team. It's we're not relying on 1 or 2 guys. In previous years, there's been a lot of reliance, I guess, on that Martin line. And it was a big thing in the summer that we talked about. We wanted to add secondary and third scoring here, and Benty and Holmes were top of the list for that reason.
Obviously, I know you and Andrew Lord do just look one game at a time, that cliche, but you must be aware what a big week this is for the Cardiff Devils, that long travel, but a cup game on Wednesday against the Dundee Stars, and then a home series, a home stand next Saturday and Sunday against the Steelers and Panthers in games that can really shape the season. So how do you control the momentum? How do you control guys' emotions? And what's the preparation like this week?
We are just looking at Dundee now. The thing about these short weeks now, where you get midweek games like Nottingham this week, now Dundee, is that it's a quick turnaround. You finish one night and you've got 1 or 2 days to prepare and focus on the next team, and that will start now tomorrow morning. We'll already start looking at Dundee's game tonight, and we're excited because the Challenge Cup has been a real spark for the club for the last 2 seasons. It's the first trophy the team's won in 10 years, the first trophy under this current ownership. So, last year, that run again coming to the final was still a great run, and maybe the disappointment of just coming up short the second time around last year. I think for the guys who returned, I think we want to win every trophy on offer, and we've got a chance here now in the cup to progress, and the final being here in Cardiff, I think again, that's exciting. That's a great prospect, and I think we'll be bitterly disappointed if we're not in that showpiece. So I'm excited actually, to get into Challenge Cup. It's kind of going to have that playoff feel a little bit already in December. So I think the guys will be excited. It's a tough place, they're a good team, but we've shown that we can do put in a performance in that rink in Dundee as we've done already. So we'll have a little bit of downtime, rest, recover, and then Monday we'll be very much back to it, preparing.
And Jamie, just finally, I know you're one of the quiet heroes of the Devils organisation. You don't talk your own role up, but you're sort of the main man on that bench this year with Andrew Lord playing in the lineup. And I know he speaks very highly of you. Sometimes he drops to the bench, but how's your role evolved, and are you enjoying the situation you find yourself in this year?
Yeah, it's I love being on the bench. I love being around the team. I've thoroughly enjoyed the coaching and sort of my coaching career through juniors, and to the point, obviously, working with the senior team here, and it's a real privilege and honour to be involved with the team, and the great thing about it's such an exciting time. The move to the rink here, the team that we put together this year that's going to be challenging, the way we're playing hockey, it's a great time to be involved. But it's a little bit more responsibility this year, obviously, with Neil Francis not on the bench. So it's a little bit of a bigger role than it was last year, but it's a role that I've really enjoyed and thriving on. And the thing is, I think there's a lot of talk about when Lordo's dressed and when he's not dressed, and what extras we get. But what the one thing you have to say about Lordo is, even when he's dressed, games like tonight when he's a player, he sees the game so well. He picks up so much information from a game. So even when he comes back to the bench and he's out of breath and he's just played a hard 40-second shift, he's already feeding back to the guys. He's still vocal as a coach, even when he's got the kit on, the uniform on. So it's still very much two voices, regardless of whether he's in a suit or in a uniform. And we work, we bounce off each other pretty well. I think we see the game pretty well. I think we share a lot of the sort of same views, and it's quite often on the bench there. We'll kind of look at each other already, like on the same page with whether we need to change up something in game or differences with lines or matchups. So. We've so far so good, but hopefully the best is still to come.
So far so good. Another win tonight against the Edinburgh Capitals 6-2. Jamie, go and enjoy your Saturday night, and thanks for joining us on IceTime.TV.